Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the industrial waste. In the previous lecture you have gone through the agricultural waste. So about the industrial waste, I, Professor Pooja Egaje, let us begin the industrial waste and the uses of it. So the industrial waste, why we call, since the industrialization has been taking place a lot, due to this industrialization, the waste that is produced from the industries is increasing. It is increasing, not a matter, but the disposal is becoming a problem nowadays. The disposal of the waste is getting a problem. Due to this waste, the pollution is getting increasing, which is harming the mankind. That's why we have to see the waste as an new innovative idea, so as to how to incorporate this waste in other useful things. We as civil engineers, we have taken some of the waste products and used them in our construction industries. Since a large number of industries produce waste materials which need to be either disposed or utilized for some purpose, we often dispose the waste could cause an problem. There are instances where large chunks of lands are rendered useless or unavailable due to disposal of such waste. Some of the typical examples that can be named as are below: the fly ash from thermal power stations, blast furnace slag from steel plants, the mining waste from the mines, mining ore of gold, copper, aluminium, oxides, or even in the blast, whatever we do, even the coal mines, even they produce so much of dust and all. Next, that is granite and marble polishing waste, rock dust from the stone crushers, and even the waste produced from the demolishing of buildings. Next, let us see one by one. Fly ash. Now, fly ash is obtained from electrostatic precipitation in thermal power plants. Fly ash generally contains silica and alumina. Now, these products have properties of combining with calcium hydroxide, or which are more prone, or they are highly actively combined with calcium hydroxide at ambient temperature in the presence of moisture, leading to hydrated Portland cement. That is, these have the fly ash is having similar properties like the Portland cement. Fly ash can be used as pozzolana in lime pozzolana cements. Addition of gypsum in small quantities will accelerate the strength gain in cements. Blending of calcium hydroxide, fly ash and gypsum is important if the full strength of the mixture is to be achieved. The strength is low at 7 days, or you can say dry mixture of calcium hydroxide and fly ash should be used within 7 days of mixing, since the shelf life is very low. Fly ash can also be an important ingredient in building blocks. Lime, fly ash, gypsum sand mixtures or cement fly ash sand mixtures can be pressed into blocks for wall construction. A good quality reactive fly ash will generally consist of silt like fines with clay size fractions of order of 5 to 20%. Other types of ash are known as pond ash or bottom ash, which are generally not very reactive. Such waste can be used as sand replacement or for inert fillers in building blocks. These are also ideal for road construction process. Now, in this image that you can see, the bottom ash is brought through this elevator over here and it is put in this furnace. Now, this ash is two types of ashes you obtain over here. One is the fly ash that gets combined with the air due to its light in density. It combines with air and it just evaporates, or you can say it just flies off. That's why it is called as fly ash, and with higher density whatever is there, it becomes the bottom ash. This bottom ash through an sluice given over here is collected in the ash pond. Next, what happens with the fly ash? The fly ash is taken to the next you can say next segment. In this, the fabric filter or the electrostatic precipitator is used, where the fly ash that was in the air is trapped and it is collected at the bottom over here and it is sent again through this sluice gate to this ash pond. Now, next, even after this filtration, even some more lighter particles are trapped in this fabric filter, where the edgy control waste, that is your mercury controlled waste, is collected, okay, and it is again sent to this ash pond. And in the next stage also, here the fly ash, again whatever the lighter particles again are collected in this cylinder and sent to the ash pond. Later, whatever, even after going these three stages of filtration, the smoke or the air that was collected is been sent in the atmosphere. Due to this, what happens? The atmosphere, the pollutants going into the atmosphere are reduced. Next, the here from the ground landfill, what happens? From the landfill, whenever you have this ash pond, the water and this the bottom ash is mixed together, and what happens, as and how it gets settled down, the ash in the pond is collected at the bottom and the cleaner water that is there, it is let out as an effluent in the river. Okay, this is how this ash is collected, and this is nothing but fly ash, how we collect it. Next, the blast furnace slag. Now, this blast furnace slag is also contains the cementitious properties. On the left side, you can see the electrostatic precipitator. This is an electrostatic precipitator, and this is the process of how the land filling is done. Now, in this land filling, water, you have the tails of the dam, then thickener, then processing plant. Now, what is done? From the processing plant, it is sent in the small dams. Small check dams are constructed. From that, it is taken to the, it is mixed with water and it is sent through a sprayer. From there, screening is done. From the screening, it is done in the landfills. Again, whatever water, the concentrated water is there, it is sent to another dam. Again, the cycle repeats till we get an clearer, or the concentration of the water is clearer. The slag from blast furnace has cementitious properties. It can be used in the substitution of your cement. The Portland blast furnace slag cement is made by grinding normal clinker with slag. This cement has sulfate resisting properties and is ideal for use in aggressive environments. That is sulfate resistance. Normally, where the, like for seashore structures or you can say the chemical industries, the silos which are made out for the chemical industries, which are very reactive to sulfate. In construction of such silos, you can use this that is blast furnace slag cement. Next, these are the some of the images of mining waste. On the left hand side, you can see the gold mining waste being sent to the dams where it is allowed for settling purpose. On the right hand side, this is the pollution caused due to copper mining. So, whenever the any of this mining is done and the left out particles are allowed to settle, these are not directly sent in the for the disposal. They are collected in a dam and then they are allowed to settle. Now, iron gold mining trails. Gold is often extracted from finely crushed granite. The waste granite dust after removal of gold is a fine material with of no use. It is often predominantly silty in nature and does not have porzononic properties. That is, we cannot use it as a cementitious material, or it is not having any binding material in it. The Kolar gold fields of Karnataka have 35 million tons of such waste. It can be ideally used for building blocks after mixing with cement and sand. Now, these gold mines, they are not reactive in nature, since they can be used as an fine aggregate supplement, or you can say a replacement. Okay. Next, these are the iron ore tailings. Iron ore tailings means once you have the iron ore, it is crushed properly, and after extracting the iron, the leftover of the particles, when mixed with water and allowed to settle, at the settled part we get this trailers. Now, what happens at this? These are not having any cementitious properties. This can be substituted with our sand. Okay, we can have the replacement for sand out of this. Now, how even we go for the screening of this? After screening, we differentiate in between whether it is less than 4.75 mm sieve, that is the size of the particles is less than 4.75 mm sieve, or it is greater than 4.75. If it is greater than 4.75, it can be used as an replacement for coarse aggregate. If it is less than 4.75, it can be used as the natural sand replacement. Now, even in this replacement, you have to check whether the inert properties of it. Next, we are having the percentage of it. The waste sand particles to an extent of 79% and silt particles to an extent of 19%. In Karnataka, Kudremukh Iron Ore Company has stored the iron ore tails, and which tunes to 150 million tons. Okay. Next, we are having the granite and marble polish waste. Okay, whenever why we do the polishing is to get a smooth surface to use this granite and marble in our home industry. So, granite and marble polishing. In this image, here you can see the extraction of granite is been done. Next, here the product, the fine product of yours, this is the waste, that is when you don't need it in the proper shape and size. The other waste, that is the cut edges, unwanted particles, that is the waste produced from the factory. Next, this is the storage of it. Then the treatment is done, or it is sent to other crushers. Not if it is not present in the same crusher, you can send it to the other crusher where the crushing is done. It is sent over here. Here you can see the crushers. It is called as here the jaw crusher. It crushes the material depending upon what teeth it is having in this crusher. Now here it is an of 16 mm crusher, which will you can obtain 16 mm size aggregates. Now these aggregates are again sieved based on the sizes. Now here you can see an vibrating screener, that is which we are having in our labs also. Manually also you have, and you have the vibrating one. Here you can see the segregation of the particles has been done. Next, screening depending upon three main crushers sizes, that is 4 to 5, 5 to 6.3 and 6.3 to 8 mm sieve. These are the different slots that are being present, which are segregated depending upon this sieve values. Now manual sieving, even it does, that is one, you have to take one aggregate at a time and do it manually. Manually what you are going to do, whether you are going to have the regular, that is you have learned in concrete technology that workability even depends upon the shape and size of the aggregates. The angular the material, or angular the aggregate, the workability increases, and indirectly it is giving contributing towards the strength parameter. So this is how the whole crusher takes place. Next, one more element in this is the polish waste. The polished waste is what? The dust that is occurring due to whenever this polishing takes place. So that the dust, whatever the dust is being produced, to reduce that dust, what they do, they sprinkle this water. Along with this water, the dust particles settle down and it is thoroughly washed off, and this dust along with water is collected in one pond and allowed to evaporate. Once the water evaporates, the remaining dust particle, whatever is remaining, it is used as an fine silt for the plastering purpose. You can use even in the along with cement for the plastering purpose. Last one is, that is waste from demolished building materials. Now whenever we demolish any, it can be a residential building or a public building, you do not get one type of waste material from that. We get different waste, that is you get the concrete, you have the bricks, next wood, tiles, you have granite, marble, then different types of wood particles also you get, steel, iron rods and n numbers. So many types of building waste you get. Now how do you segregate this? First of all, the segregation is a main important, that is sorting. Now in the second point here, in the second point sorting. Now in this sorting, we sort in types of timber, metal and plastic. Now in timber, that is your wood, all the wood elements come over there. In metals, all it can be the rods used for our construction, reinforcement, or other metals, door metals and all those. Next plastic, plastic we use when the other materials that are house livelihood they have used, in that we can segregate as the plastic waste. Then we go for each and every material initial crushing, that is the waste is crushed so that we can convert in new material, or it can be used as a substitute for something else. After crushing, it is sent to the conveyor belt. From the conveyor belt, it is sent to the main crushing. After crushing is done, we go again for the sieving. In sieving, we do two types of sieving. One is coarse grained sieving, another one is fine grained sieving. Now, coarse grained sieving means which is more than 4.75 mm, and fine grained means less than 4.75 mm sieve. Now, what happens after this? The concrete material that we have got from the demolishing, it can be used as a lightweight aggregate. Even the bricks can be used as a lightweight aggregate. Next, whatever the metal byproduct we get when the metal is broke down into small fibers, those can be used as an for in your fibers, that is your synthetic fibers you get, you can use them as the fibers, or they can be used something like other, they can be again they can be sent to the ore industry and melted down to make new product. Plastic can be compressed at a high temperature and it can be cut into aggregates, that is your plastic aggregates. Now, in this also there will be two, that is high density plastic and low density plastic. Depending upon the density of the plastic, you get the density of the concrete also, that can be used as an aggregates. Your fine aggregates, they can be used as fine aggregates as well as the coarse aggregates also. Now, this what is the conclusion of everything is, whatever the waste is being generated, it can be reused according to our need and according to the purpose. It is not necessary like every material, that is in the construction industry also we have so much of waste going out. You can stop it and use in some other useful ways. Thank you. We'll meet in the next class.